It's lockdown 2.0. Did you experience back pain last time? Well, in this video, we have 3 tips that are going to help you avoid getting any back pain this time round, where you're working from home or just at home during the lockdown. And also at the end of this video, we're going to cover a little routine, so to speak, that's going to help you. If you do feel back pain coming on, you're going to want to do this routine to make sure it doesn't come on for good. Before we get into it, thanks so much for being here and watching the channel. If you do find these videos helpful, consider giving us a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel as your way of supporting us produce more videos like this one. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So the first one is the obvious one. You're working from home, you're not going to the office, or maybe you're just stuck in the house quarantining and you can't work from home. What are you doing? Well, the big thing for most people is going to be their desk setup. What are you doing on a daily basis? It's either going to be working on your computer, maybe you're doing work from home, or it's going to be watching Netflix, doing those sorts of things. Maybe you're playing video games, or maybe you're just reading. What can we do to set up our workstation, whether it's work or not, to really ensure that it doesn't contribute and slowly build up back pain over the next couple of days? We speak to lots of people that are working from home and that maybe been quarantined, or maybe they're in lockdown right now. And one of the things that often happens is that back pain builds up slowly over a couple of days to a week, and they don't really know why. The back's starting to get a little bit achy, it's uncomfortable, and they don't really attribute it to this setup. So it's a really important one. So maybe take some notes when we go through the next little bit. So we've got desk height. Are we working from the kitchen table, or are we working from our bed? We don't want to be working from the bed, we don't want to be working from the sofa, we don't want to be there for extended periods. We want the desk, maybe it's the kitchen table, maybe you're not fortunate enough to have an office in your own house, you're just working from the kitchen table. That's going to be a good place to start for most of you. We've got the chair. If we've got armrests, that's great. Let's have them at 90 degrees so arms can hang relaxed, not up like this or down like that, to try and work on the laptop or on the computer. If we've got a computer, let's get the center of the screen at eye level, not down here or up there, because that's going to contribute to bad posture, which is going to take strain or put strain onto our lower back. And what about the setup on the kitchen table itself? If we don't want to have the printer over here, the computer over here, and be going back and forwards, left and right, that's going to give us repetitive strain. We shouldn't be doing that. That's going to really grind those discs in the lower lumbar spine and start to become a little bit unhappy, especially if it's done repetitively. Leave the printer somewhere else. If you want to use it, get up, walk over there, use it as a break. Remember, we did a full video on this, and there's more details on our YouTube channel on working from home specifically. But you're free at home. You don't have your boss looking over your shoulder, so be flexible. You can move around, you can get up, you can take breaks, switch positions. If you're watching TV or you're watching your laptop, get up, move around, swap chairs, go and sit in that one, sit in the other one. If you're on the laptop or the iPad, go into the living room, go into the kitchen, go into your bedroom. Just move around the house a little bit more. Don't camp out in one room for hours and hours on end. And I know how tempting that can be if you're watching The Crown or something like that on Netflix. Next episode. So with that out of the way, what are we doing now? We're talking about exercise. Now, exercise was a big push, especially here in the UK in the first lockdown. Do your 1 hour exercise a day. That's your freedom, so to speak. But it's just as important this time, even though the weather's not as good for it. Now, I always recommend to everyone, factor in your exercise every day and do it before the day starts. Don't say, oh, I'll make time for it. If you're working, you've got busy deadlines, or you're getting caught up in the bits and pieces around the house, schedule in the time that you're going to go out and do that exercise. If you're a morning person, get it done first thing. If you're someone who likes doing it a little bit later in the day, then schedule it in for 3 in the afternoon or something like that, but get out and do that exercise. If you're someone without back pain and you're a runner, for example, do those runs. If you just want to go out and have a walk, then that's fine too. Now, if you've got back pain or don't, there's 2 options we can take here. Maybe you are struggling a little bit more, then we're going to have tips later on, but also you could look at the Back in Shape phase 1, phase 2 is a good place to start. And there'll be a link for backinshapeprogram.com up here or down here, so you can read more about it there. But maybe, let's say you're actually healthy watching this video, you haven't got any back pain, maybe you struggled a little bit towards the end of last lockdown, it did drag on. So this time around, you're just looking for a workout that you can do that's safe, that's time efficient. We don't want to be working out for 2-3 hours. It's a little bit excessive for most people, and they don't have the interest for it. Well, we created the Back in Shape phase 2 and phase 3 in particular. Phase 3 is really where you want to be. When that is a full, or both of those are full routines that can take you 15-20 minutes, maybe half an hour tops to go through. They're safe. They're going to get your heart rate up. They're going to get you working out. They're going to get you burning some calories and feeling good afterwards. And the one most important thing, especially considering the topic of this video, is that they are safe exercises for you if you've got back pain. Last thing I'd want you to be doing is going, oh, I'm going to go and do a bunch of press-ups and a bunch of sit-ups, because that is going to be more rounding of your spine. And let's have a look at what's happening there. So we've got the spine again. What's happening when we're sat down? We're sat in that position. We're rounding our lower back, flattening this curve. So then the one time where you're going to do your exercises, do we really want to be doing that excessively, flattening this lumbar spine even more? No, we don't. So doing the right exercise is important, and that's why we created the Back in Shape. So head over there and you'll be able to get a bit more of a robust, concrete routine that you can do that is going to be safe for your back. So we sorted out our desk, we factored in our exercise. What else can we do to improve or reduce the likelihood of getting back pain? We can work on our hips. Remember, we're not exercising, we're not being out and about as much. We're going to be indoors. We don't have that commute in and out of work where we're getting the muscles moving, getting the joints moving, etc. Keep these hips flexible. And that means stretching sensibly. That means stretching in a way that stretches the hips without rounding the back. As we just mentioned in the last point, we don't want to be excessively rounding the back. Enough of that is likely to happen while you're working or sat down or watching the TV on the sofa. So we want to be careful of rounding the back. So these simple stretches, a little bit for the hamstrings, some glute stretching, some hip flexor stretching, it's just going to keep them nice and supple. You could spend 15, 20 minutes, 2-3 times a week, and that's going to keep those hips nice and mobile during the lockdown period. It's important to make sure that when we are doing those hip stretches, we're not rounding the lower back. And we talk about this more on Back in Shape. You'll be able to read more about it over there and get the specific guidance that you need in the protocols there. So we put down the spine in place for the towel. What's this last tip? Point number 4, that bonus tip that I said we were going to get into. Well, that's going to be a sort of a similar routine to what we talk about in our phase 1 Back in Shape. And that's going to be a little bit of lower body stretching. I mentioned a moment ago about the hamstring, the glutes, and the hip flexors to keep those hips nice and mobile while we are a little bit more sedentary than normal. That's going to be really helpful, spending maybe 5-10 minutes or so, maybe 15 minutes tops doing that. Keep those nice and mobile. Then moving on to that towel underneath the lower back to support the natural lordosis, to create a bit of arch and help take pressure off those discs, because it's the slow, consistent process of squashing down those discs every single day for the hours on end that we tend to sit at our desk or workstations or sofa that really starts to strain them. So using this towel for 3 to 5 minutes will really help unload the spine a little bit more. And again, we've got more guidance, more support on backinshapeprogram.com. And the final little one is using a little bit of ice just at the bottom part of that spine. And I'll show you exactly where I mean. So all too often people use the ice in the wrong place. And we're just using it here for 3 to 5 minutes, absolute maximum. A couple of times a day is going to help just keep the circulation going right in that area, especially if we're starting to feel a little bit of a niggle at the bottom part of the spine. All too often people do the wrong sort of thing. So follow our instructions, this is not going to lead you astray at all. But that area of the lower back, we find those 2 bony bits down here, which are the dimples. This is really way below the bottom of the lumbar spine. People all too often put things here, when actually it's these joints, the L4, L5, S1 region of the spine, that we really want to get that ice on. Right here, it's normally where your belt sits, and coincidentally, this is exactly where that towel goes as well. A little bit of ice down there. You can use the waistband of your trousers or whatever underwear you're wearing to hold it in place, and just 3 to 5 minutes, it'll work like a charm. So there you have it, our 3-step guide to making sure that you don't get stuck with back pain during this second lockdown. We had a desk setup, what you should be doing on a daily basis, whether you are working from home, whether you're in quarantine, or whether you're just at home during this lockdown. We had the specific guidance to do exercise, program it into your day so it's done every single day. Hey, you could do with getting out of the house, just stick an umbrella if it's raining. And then number 3, which was actually doing a bit of stretching to keep those hips nice and mobile, with that little bonus tip at the end of that small routine. You can rewind and watch it again. More details are at backinshapeprogram.com. There'll be a link up here or a link down here to go there straight away after this video. And if you did find it helpful, do consider giving us a thumbs up, hitting the subscribe button, and share it with someone else that you know could use this video. Hopefully you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time with another video. If you want to learn more about the premium Back in Shape membership, there's going to be a video somewhere underneath here. And if you want to stay up to date or tune in to some of our more recent live streams and the Q&As at the end of those, then that's going to be down here. And remember, you can subscribe to the channel up here and hit the notification bell to make sure you know when we next go live, so you can join us for our next live stream and Q&A.